is a minute. Remember the spawn point, 10 seconds minion waves. Every 30 seconds a new minion wave will spawn. That's where teams go around in terms of the movements. Falcons AP Brand knows that very well. And remember the clips from earlier this year. It was Wolf reminding all of us saying, hey, remember minute 10, second 10, second 40. So TNC Pro Team also knows that.
I feel like that should be their daily drill, right? If you're kind of living with Wolf, I feel like that is your every minute of every day. You probably try to plan it out as much as you can, but then again, you can only plan out so much. You can only control so much from the draft. Look at that draft though, very early on, Phobius first pick.
Even when
what a move! Instantly picking the Phobius. So TNC Pro Team are going to be forced to go into the Vexana, and then of course Heads will get his Terizla. Classic movements. You still have so many open. The Rogers, the Zasks, even high loss for Falcons AP Brand, which is 3 out of 4 for Ogwin. Or excuse me, I believe it's 2 out of 3. Is available for him. So power picks are all left up on the table. The difference is Edith and Harith were the ones banned out alongside the Assassins. So Julian and Nolan might be what we're looking at for here for Kyle TZ and Kzen respectively.
Most likely, and I think Nolan...
Oh, the Haya, excuse me, also.
Oh, Haya, right,
yeah.
right. Haya first pick has been a thing yesterday as well, so you gotta watch that out. You gotta watch out for the Haya coming into this one. But for now, you're right, Hylos seems to be the pick. If not, I feel like TNC might pick that up. Look, they go for, is that Valentina?
Whoa.
That's a Valentina.
Okay.
Pretty early on for Falcons AP Brand.
Yeah, there's a chance that we might be seeing the Roger pick up already for the Kyle TZ jungle. And TNC Pro Team will decide to go pick up the Julian. So they want to take away strong frontliners. They'll ban out the Matilda. Interesting.
All right, that's a very specific ban here.
Yeah, if they're going to ban out the Matilda, are they considering banning out the Jawhead, the Minotaur also? And but the Lolita of Ogwin is also there. I feel like it's more of just like we banned out the Lolita because right now with the Vexana, that might be like the worst case scenario to go up against.
And we can't forget the Hylos, man. The Hylos is a looming threat here.
He's just there. He's just waiting.
He's just waiting.
Come on, someone pick me. Someone pick me.
Waiting to get picked up, and I wouldn't blame either of these teams to actually do that here. That's a Tiger band out.
Huh.
And I think, well, apparently Ingan is calling out his crush.
He went all the way from upstairs to downstairs to get even more camera time.
That is effort. That is like, he really wants to get up in front of that camera. And that's, I can't blame him. I mean, if you got the energy, you got the... You can wiggle through the... Oh, just go for it. Either way.
Wiggle.
Here's Hylos. There you go.
Okay, good ban, good ban.
All right.
So what? Are they going to take away the Lolita from Ogwin? Pick up a Minotaur for themselves? Oh, and of course, the Ruby going up against a Roger. Yeah, makes sense, makes sense. So that goes into the hands of Escalera. What's her... Oh, wow.
Any surprises here coming in for Falcons AP Brand? Any weird roam picks, maybe? What's the weirdest roam pick they could pick here?
Weird?
Easiest is Lolita, right? That's the easiest, I think. Or...
Yeah, because you don't see enough pieces right now to pick up the Lolita, but they might consider...
Nah. Jungle... Maybe. Nah, too soft, isn't it?
Oh, it might be a Minotaur, even.
Minotaur is great.
Or maybe something that can build dominant ice, because Flash... Well, they might go for something stronger. Maybe just Grok it.
Grok. That's a pretty simple thing. That's a Nathan.
Is that Gatot? Oh,
it's a Gatot. They're hopping on, man. They know it's a thing. They know it's really good.
Wow.
And they're taking it for themselves.
It feels like this is now Falcons AP Brand deciding to flex. All right, it's time to switch up the picks and show some more. The carry? Yeah, of course it's carry.
There's a carry.
Similar to yesterday what we saw and just being left with the carry. So, Falcons AP Brand, this is them building a lineup that could match up with the power scaling of a Julian who, again, can gank at level 3, but spikes up really well at level 4. So you have the Nathan, Gatot, and Phobius to just be like, yeah, we'll be ready by then too.
It is actually really scary. And this lineup that we see here for Falcons AP Brand does feel like it's not something they probably use a lot. I hope that, I'm pretty sure it's on scripts, but it's not something we see them use a lot. And for this, it's great for the lineup though, right? It's great against the current lineup of TNC, which will kind of force you to bonk on that guy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. So far, so good for both of these teams. Let's throw it over to our casters to bring us to the game. That's Naisu and Ingan.
And thank you so much, panel, for breaking it down there. Again, it's Naisu joined here on the desk with Ingan for the English cast as we kick off the triple header today, starting off with TNC and FCAP battling it out in this best of 3. You saw from the index, man. The index showed us that TNC actually has the quote-unquote, I'm doing air quotes, you guys can't see it, but air quotes, the better lineup for this one.
Yeah, especially knowing TNC, the panel, both panels actually mentioned this a while ago, that in terms of their playstyle, they always dominate the early to mid game, but they have to work on the late game. And with their current lineup right now, they don't even need to reach the late game. They could end it early, 11, 12-minute marks, the usual average of our matches. But again, you're up against the Falcons, AP Brent. The Titans.
Yeah, the Titans.
Oh, there's the early game. Naisu.
Hey, they're up against the Titans, but they'll get the first blood.
Unbothered. That was a quick rotation onto the mid lane. That's a good kill onto few, especially the Valentina. We all know that Valentina, one of the few mid laners who can actually go up against the Lynx, the Fannies, the most assassins.
Wow. Oh, okay. That's not going to be enough to get this kill on Flap, but do they push it?
Flap pops the Vengeance here and is surrounded by 2, and now he's going to get the kill. Wait, what happened? Okay, Flap TZ is the one who fell.
Yeah.
Okay, only Flap.
You get thrown off there because,
thrown off.
hey, TNC, man, I don't know what they had for breakfast. Well, it's actually lunchtime. What they had for lunch, but they're off to a great start here.
Yeah.
2 early kills, 1 on few, then they get Flap later on. Great decision making, and going back on your point earlier, Ingan, they like to play the early game. That has been the story of TNC. If you haven't watched the past 5 weeks, that's what they like to do. And they're actually going to be looking for more here.
Going on to Flap TZ once again. Here's Kyle TZ on the other hand with the Lycan Pounce going right after Kaizen, but Flap's going to fall down. Next one is Kaizen.
Wow.
Kyle TZ manages to escape right on time because there is the first turtle, but here comes Escalera. Good taunt coming in from Ogwin, and the clash will end.
Okay, still with the turtle up, though. At least FCAP finding themselves on the board to be able to work on, but this objective most likely going to be just taken for TNC. And going back to the point, TNC has constantly controlled their early games when they're in their matchups. And it's all about not, wow, there's going to jump in from Heads?
Heads penalty zone onto Kyle TZ, but a counterattack coming in from Pew. Here comes Escalera, Lancy, and Kaizen, and I'm offended. Play, good pull. Heads suffering the damage coming in from Flap. Here comes the Infernal Pursuit. He's going to bring him down, but here comes TNC once again to bring down Master Ogwin.
Good flicker on out. I don't think they can get any more from that. Interesting. Again, you know, Heads gave the call, went in, initiated, objective secure. TNC actually got a lot in that exchange.
Yeah.
Not so bad that Heads actually went down in that, because right now it's all about playing on the momentum they have. And you said it well, the panel said it. If they can end this game early, you know, I'm talking even off that first Lord at that point, then that's going to be great for TNC against a team like FCAP. And right now it's playing around that kind of the power spike they're going to get here, because FCAP's lineup needs some more time.
Yeah.
That's the difficult part of it. And that's why also when you look at this, 2 Vengeance on 2 heroes that are naturally just annoying to deal with. They're so tanky, they can be in your face. And look at, okay, Kyle might jump in there.
Okay. Those were the crucial, things that Kyle TZ was talking about during the interview. The asim moments, the sour moments.
The asim.
Yeah, if he didn't mature from the asim moments, for sure he's gonna go in with the Lycan Pounce. But Flap TZ pops his Vengeance. He's not gonna out-sustain the damage of Kaizen, and Heads. Another pick-off onto the XP lane for TNC.
Can we explain asim real quick?
I think you should explain it.
Me?
Okay, asim is basically a term for overextension. Ogwin here, overextending with the AOG, but here comes Kyle TZ, still able to free hit. They're going to bring down Lancy, and look at the sustain from this Gatot Kacha. He's still going. Few's going to enter. He has the Eternal Guard, though. Is he going to go in with the Eternal Guard? No, they're going to stop, because again, asim moments, they're trying to prevent the asim moments,
It's
the sour moments.
It's so ridiculous when you actually translate it to English. But yeah, basically that's it. When you're very aggressive, you miscalculate your decisions, and you know it all comes down to that. But right now, TNC has been doing the right decisions for the most part. they're losing some of these skirmishes, some of these fights. They're going to lose the objective, but it's 1-for-1 right now in terms of the turtle. They're still putting pressure here, and you got to respect them for that. Escalera right towards the orange buff here. Yeah. They want to force him off.
They know that there's no retribution anymore. Kyle TZ has to walk away. AOG from Ogwin. And in the middle of everything is Escalera. He has to walk away here. Flap TZ still chasing after him with the Infernal Pursuit and everything. Lancy is still going back. Kaizen, will he be able to escape? He's there, but Heads also. Okay, so that's going to be a trade for Escalera. But the orange buff, they tried to invade the orange buff because Kyle TZ used his retribution for the turtle, but Flap TZ happened again. Flap TZ, Ogwen happened, ready to protect the orange buff.
And that's the thing, Ian. Like, it's good. That's a call. It's a risky call, but it's got to take some confidence too. And unfortunately for them, it didn't work out. So they might be able to find some focus somewhere else. They do hold on to a small lead, but that's been the story of TNC. We see them make those calls, and sometimes, more often than not, it's a mistake. And so hopefully that doesn't have a snowball effect, because once again, FCAP is just waiting for this lineup to really start to shine. And you're already seeing it. When Flap is up front tanking everything, especially when he has a Vengeance, he's kind of just up in front. He alone is enough to get the attention of TNC. And they're like, oh my gosh, this guy is just jumping in the air all over. Then he pops a Vengeance, and then how do we get him? But that's not even considering the fact that Ogwin is also on the Gatakacho, which we have seen a hero. You know, yes, it's popped up in other parts of the world. Now, especially with the Mamba bringing it out last week, I think it was, for the first time. Yeah. It's really been showing up a lot. And all this is to distract TNC from Super Marco just doing his thing. Yeah. Farming up on the native.
And it's not just that, because we've seen Flap TZ go right after the kill. He went after Lancy a while ago with the Infernal Pursuit. So he's not just getting TNC's attention and out sustaining their damage. It's also, he's like playing a Ling that's trying to go for those engages, but Escalera with a pull here onto Flap TZ. Here comes the distraction once again. AOG is going to be casted, but not going to connect onto anyone. Kyle TZ enters with Lycan Pounds, but he's not going to get a kill onto Escalera. Ogwin here. A couple of hits more before he goes down. And there's the internal guard coming in from Lancy. Brings down Ogwin. That's a one trade for TNC. Will Kyle TZ still contest for this turtle?
Good fight here. Kyle TZ waiting patiently. Kaizen too, quite low. The battle for this third turtle.
Oh, entropy in from Super Marco. He's now activated. Look at the damage, but Heads so far.
Oh no.
Oh, wait. Kyle TZ goes in again with the Lycan Pounds. Is he he's not gonna out-sustain the damage because Flap was also there. But then you see the damage coming in from Heads a while ago to Super Marco.
He had it, but then again, it's all a game for FCAP. And now with a focus here on the Tier 1, that's the thing they...
Oh, Escalera! Oh my goodness! AOG onto the backline. I think Falcons wants to continue. The Vengeance will be popped in a double kill from Kyle TZ. So far, no sour moments from Falcons AP Brand.
Time and time again, this happens to TNC. They have a lead, a couple mistakes lead up to this, and now they find themselves in this position.
Oh, they're not even done. Going for the purple buff, but went for Kaizen also. 2, 3, 4. You know, I like that you mentioned that because I was expecting that the turning point for Falcons AP Brand was at the 8-minute mark. But they made it faster. It was actually at the 4-minute mark for the second turtle. That was the time Falcons AP Brand was activated, and then they turned the tides to their favor.
And that's the thing. This is always, when you're watching an FCAP game, remember, this is a team that even the undefeated, playoff secured FNOP was like, yeah, we can't wait to play against FCAP again, because they're still the team that teams look forward to playing because of the macro level of play that they have. The micro as well. When you look at that last turtle take, that third one, they knew the advantages they had. They pulled in TNC to actually commit to the fight, and then they just demolished them. And it was a snowball effect, and that's what FCAP does. They'll punish when they find those mistakes, and then they kick it into high gear, and now they find themselves with a pretty good lead leading into that first Lord. And so for TNC, it's like they had the flames in the early portion of the game, and they've just been doused out.
Yeah, it got extinguished now. Ogwin. Oh, that was a 5-man gank for TNC.
Good pickup.
Good pickup here, right on time for the Lord. But still, Falcons AP Brand has a 3.3k gold lead. Took down mid lane turret, and now Few gets the internal guard. they can still contest for this Lord.
I think they're going to be able to. There's a conceal. This is theirs for the taking.
Oh, TNC, will they secure it? It goes to Kozin. Now they have to disengage. Could flap TZ onto the chase. Kyle TZ going to try to cut him off. Kzen is the target. Lycan pounds in. That's one member down. Make it two, because they went for the head. Escalera with an I'm offended play. He's going to fall down in the hands of Kozin. Trying to chase right after flap TZ. Kozin gets a double plus the Lord.
All right, TNC, they light the flames again. Not only after the pickoff, before the Lord take, they get the Lord, and they manage to have some fight in them as well. So they find themselves in a better position than they were minutes ago. But this is where, again, the macro play comes into the play versus FCAP. They're going to force them out of the jungle at least. Escalera is still really aggressive on this Ruby pick. They have the Lord going up top side. They get the sights here on the orange buff. They want to get these tier 1 down in the mid lane, and that's what they're going to focus on.
AOG from Oakwood. They're going to try to force a fight before the Lord reaches the inhibitor turret. They have to walk away here. Will they engage again? Escalera still has the I'm offended play.
Okay. They're waiting patiently in that bush. This is what they did earlier on, and they can wait for that I'm offended to be available. They're going to punch us in.
Okay, heads go. It goes in with the penalty zone, forcing Super Marco to use the entropy. Escalera is very low. You used up the I'm offended as well. And now Falcons AP Bren, with the initiation of TNC wasted, they can clear this Lord up top.
If I were, TNC, I'm happy with that. They managed to not get completely snowballed out of control from FCAP with how things were going. They get a couple turrets to deal with that mid lane, and then the tier 2 up top. They're still going to work on this tier 1 in the bottom. But good for TNC. They might get a pick off here unless they're going to get run down.
TNC has been controlling through mid brushes.
Oh, he retreated.
They've been getting a lot of kills there, and now Kzen focusing on Flap TZ. Used up the red 3, but it's okay because 60 seconds before the second Lord spawns.
Okay, they can still push this tier 2 in the bottom as well. The minion wave is at least there, but it looks like they have their sights elsewhere. A couple hits, they'll keep up. Well, like you said, under a minute, this Lord's going to come up here. And now, once again, TNC in a much better fighting form than previously. They can do the same thing and go for a pickoff.
Another pickoff potential here, but AOG counterattack from Falcons. AP, look at heads! Went for 4. Entropy in, coming in from Super Marco, but Flap's going to fall down. TNC's going to be able to disengage. And a beautiful pickoff once again from the captain, Escalera.
Great decision to go for it again. Escalera has been very aggressive on the Ruby, like I mentioned earlier. But you keep doing that, it might pay off. It's not going to result in them just freely getting the Lord, because by that time, Flap will be back up for the fight. But if they can keep doing that, it's great. Kozin also picking up the Malefic Roar right now. He is going to be shredding this front line from FCAP, and that's exactly what they want to do. Kzen also picking up the Holy Crystal at this point. But as I mentioned on the flip side, Super Marco has the Divine Glaive. Lord being pushed.
Okay, but Kzen's going to get it. Another pull coming in from Escalera. Oh, it's going to fall down. Kozin has a really great game. 5-0-1 with this carry, outplaying Super Marco, leading by 1K. Now, this is a different TNC. This is the second half of the season TNC buff.
This is a great to see from TNC, and I want to see them punch it into the base of FCAP here. They've really been playing together as a team. They haven't slipped up too many times. There were mistakes in the early game, but they have calculated. And now they find themselves marching to the base of FCAP here with a good confidence boost with the way that they're playing around Escalera. You mentioned it earlier too, Kozin. Whether he outplays FCAP or not, the fact that he's on this carry and pretty much locked in item-wise, picks up his last item defensively, most likely here, unless he's still planning for a defensive item. But the Malefic Roar alone, like I mentioned, was enough to shred through Flap or Ogwin.
Yeah.
And even if the Vengeance is available, that's something they really have to be careful of and not overextend too much. And now they're ready to knock on the base turrets here of FCAP.
Falcons AP Bren needs to avoid those sour Asim moments, and TNC to capitalize on those as the Lord bursts down an inhibitor turret. Will we see Escalera again with magnificent I am offended plays? But here comes the discipline of the Phoenix Army. We're not going to force any more clashes because we got an inhibitor up top.
All right, they got that. One thing I can really say about TNC this time around, very disciplined in their approach. Now that they, it might have seemed like they were a little too aggressive earlier on, but this time they know they have a control. they don't want to lose it this time. Escalera.
There's a conceal. Escalera goes in again with the I'm Offended play, but a counter-attack coming in from Falcons. AOG not going to connect onto anything, but Super Marco finally gets a kill onto Escalera. Saves their inhibitor turrets. Kyle TZ going to work on the bottom lane, and TNC has to disengage.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. If they lose Escalera, if they get, very aggressive, they want to punch it in the base with a conceal, try to get the flicker combination off we see so many times, and they lose Escalera, unfortunately for TNC, they kind of have to disengage and back off from that, especially once the Eternal Guard is worked through and everything else. So good thing they didn't lose anyone else in that fight, because even if that Avatar of the Guardian was a little bit further from Ogwin, that could have been very bad and they could have got collapsed down on.
Yeah.
So FCAP playing that patient game when they need to. Now they're going to get ready for this next take, this Lord here. They're going to get pushed out of the bush. We're 20 seconds away from the objective.
Okay.
And so TNC wants to get control of this area, and they should. They have that map advantage. They've got a couple extra turrets against FCAP here. Escalera, no fear, will continue to do what he's been doing, and we'll see how FCAP decides to adjust to it.
Okay, Few still hasn't copied any ultis, still hasn't used the IMU, gonna use that Eternal Guard instead, and gonna set up perfectly for this third Lord. A conceal for Escalera. They're gonna try to get a pick off. They want to go for Flap TZ. Flap TZ manages to escape.
Oh.
I'm Offended, wasted. Now counter attack coming in from Falcons. AP Brent, Eternal Guard is here, gonna connect
Oh,
on to Coulson. Look at Kyle TZ going after Lancey. He's gonna fall down. Now the chase is on. Kyle TZ will he go for the kill or for the Lord. Heads soaking up all the damage, but Escalera waiting patiently in the brush. Kyle TZ manages to find him and manages to force TNC out of the Lord pit.
Okay, you can see this. Kaizen not even going to worry about this. He's going to make his own trip top side. Rest of TNC is going to go ahead and get eyes on this Lord here.
Oh.
Kyle TZ there.
Jungle versus jungle 1v1. Will Kyle TZ fall down? But here comes Flap and the reinforcements. I think TNC, this is their plan. They can burst down the Lord though.
Good delay.
Okay, good delay.
They're not going to be able to get the Lord just yet, but that was enough distraction to keep even FCAP from taking the objective. So what this all means is we're back to this reset. We're back to the Lord take. It's half health here.
Falcons is the one bursting the Lord. Heads goes in with a penalty zone just to delay. But Kyle TZ gets the Lord. He's going to fall down. Ogwin
no.
with AOG going up against 5 members and a monster kill coming in from Kozin. Few has to walk away. Flap as well. It's just 3 members for Falcons, but they got the Lord.
They got the Lord here, but TNC full force, full health here. Will want to possibly just deal with this and then push in the wave if they can. Lord's going to be taken care of. 2 down for FCAP at the moment.
No.
So they have to keep it together here because TNC wants to get in the base. And they won't find the connection with the I'm Offended either.
Okay.
So that might be enough to keep them from pressing forward.
Oh, Super Marco Entropy in! Gonna pop the immortality. Look at the bulletproof coming in from Marco, still deathless. Already picks up a kill. That was on to 3 members of TNC. Super Marco was alone. He went in.
That's that scary move from the Nathan. For a while, once he's locked in, you get that Nathan burst of damage. And he can do that, especially when the entropy is available. And that's something that you have to watch out for. TNC, look at this. Again, he's at this point where Super Marco is going to be a huge threat, but it's also Kozin that is the threat as well, that he's locked in. The hard part is this entire lineup from TNC. It's been Escalera, but maybe it's time to switch things up. Let Heads go in for the initiation. Yeah. Or maybe it's Lancey, because earlier on you saw it. Lancey was off position from the team, and then he got just picked off by Kyle TZ, and that's the problem, right? He's not going to be too fast. He doesn't have a flicker right now, too, so he's got to be even more cautious approaching this next fight, which, again, we're still a minute away from that Lord being up here.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, TNC also, as you mentioned, needs to switch things up. Maybe Heads is the one to start things. But again, the problem is it's hard to go for a penalty zone when you're out of position. It seems like Escalera always in a better position compared to Heads, and now Conceal from TNC. Falcons AP Brand, they smelt the aggression of TNC. Has to walk away, but has control of the mid brushes though. And even if they lost an inhibitor turret, look at how they manage their minions. It's like they're not bothered even if TNC has enhanced minions up top.
Yeah, the way FCAP's dealing with waves again, it's their team known for the macro.
Entropy.
Oh, Super Marco.
Entropy from Super Marco. Escalera has to use the I'm offended. That's okay, but at this point, you can see and respect the damage from Super Marco. That was a couple of seconds. A damage coming in from Marco, and Escalera's health was almost half. So you have to respect Super Marco right now. Is not even popping the Purify. And now TNC, but although although Super Marco has been performing well, there was an instance wherein the problem was Marco for the opposing team, but they just didn't mind Marco instead. I think it was the game last week.
Yeah, and that's always something for, I mean, any gold laner. You really get to shine, especially if you're ignored for a majority and your positioning is on point. That's one thing that you can do. Especially easier, I would say, for the Nathan because you have the Entropy and you have a Purify as well. Kozin, he has a Flicker, and then you got to just rely on, you know, being able to maneuver your way through these fights. But at this point, you find yourself 20 minutes into the game. TNC has a good composition to actually fight this out. It's mainly just landing those setup potentials in it. Like I said, so far, yes, it's always going to be Escalera, the best option for it. And then Heads follows up. And we've seen him do it before. Land 3 people in the penalty zone would be great for them. But you can see this. FCAP knows how to play this. They've done it so many times. Escalera will go in.
Oh, but... Oh, I'm offended! Continue! Plus the Flicker. Venge is going to be popped as well as the Immortality. But still, Flap TZ is alive. Heads up play for Escalera. Those are 2 resources expended for the side of FCAP.
Okay, they know that the wave has to be managed top side. They send Flap back. This is TNC's opportunity to try to go ahead and take this Lord, but they won't because of the threat still from FCAP. Already quickly dealt with that wave. They're back full force for the fight here. Escalera.
Okay, use the I'm offended. Now Super Marco Entropy in. Okay, now this time Falcons AP Brent full force. Kyle TZ was able to clear out the minions. AOG is going to be casted onto Kazin.
Oh, no.
No more Retribution holder for TNC.
You'll lose Kazin. You're most likely just going to lose this fight in objective here, but TNC.
Okay, will they contest this time? They're not going to go for the Lord anymore. They want to go for the kills. Super Marco working on Heads. He's going to fall down. 2 members down. Now back to the Lord.
See, look what happened there. Again, TNC wanted to stay around. They lose that base turret from the push of the minions. FCAP zoned the members left alive just with Flap TZ alone while they were still working on the Lord, and they end up doing it all. And that's why people so often say, man, FCAP is the best team macro playstyle here in the world, and you can see it. So with that, even the damage being there on Kozin, they have their backs against the wall for the defense.
Okay, have to respect the damage coming in from Kozin, and another pull from Escalera. Popping the Immortality of Ogwen there. Manages to escape with the AOG, but they got the inhibitor up top. They still have a Lord in the bottom lane. Now sets their eyes on the mid lane inhibitor turret.
Gonna work in the mid lane here. Last turret TNC's holding on to. FCAP will put a little pressure here, but I don't know if they're gonna be able to actually get the last turret. Very slow and meticulous about it, even with that Lord push in. But once again, TNC, with the lineup they have, good clear, good way to defend. They hold on to 1 base turret. So now if you really look at the advantage here, FCAP, they hold on to 2 in the base. They can play with that minor advantage leading into the next Lord eventually. But because that's still a minute and a half away, TNC could look for a pickoff, could potentially find something. But we saw how many Winter Crowns have been used, how many Immortalities have been popped, and Escalera won't find that I'm offended. FCAP's not going to fall for it anymore.
Yeah, 6.1k gold lead from Falcons AP Brent right now, plus inhibitor turrets. Still have to. And this is where Kyle TZ's mantra comes in again. We want to avoid those Asim sour moments. Because prior to getting after getting the bottom lane turret, if this was the old Falcons AP Brent, I could safely say they would try to go and bring it down. That mid lane turret, they would force it for sure.
I think, and part of it too is just they're respecting the lineup that we saw, even from the index, right, for TNC. And you still got to say, Kozin's been doing a fantastic job. He is deathless right now in this carry. A lot of the team has been able to peel for him as well. And that's the thing. He's always going to be a threat. Even the knock-up, the enhanced chains coming out from Kazin is always going to be a threat for FCAP. And that's why they can't actually just throw Ogwin into the back line. He can't just jump into the back line the way some people might think he can, because of how much peel is there for TNC. And if they somehow isolate someone from FCAP, then they're easily going to get shredded down. And that's why you see FCAP kind of being a little more cautious on how they approach these fights, and would rather fight towards the objectives, fight in these kind of choke points, and even the bushes here to play with that advantage.
No, Few knows. He knows. Few knows. He's just testing.
The Few sense.
He's just baiting. He's just baiting TNC. He knows. I mean, that's Few. He was here since Season 1. A conceal from Escalera. He's going to get Few here, but he pops his Purify. Because Falcon's AP Bren are bursting down. This Lord's going to be a Retribution battle. Heads goes in. Flap TZ secures the Lord. Has to walk away now. They have minions onto the bottom lane. Pops his Vengeance. AOG is there. Going to connect onto 2. Plus the Eternal Guard. Super Marco still hasn't used that Entropy. Look at the free hits coming in from Marco. Gonna bring down no one but the minions. Oh, bursting down the crystal.
What it? MVP! Minion!
Nice too. This is the definition of Asim. Literally, this is Asim.
That's sour.
This is sour.
You pay so much attention to the